Your Excellencies, Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary and Secretary of Foreign Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellencies, permanent representatives of member states of the African Union, the leadership of the African Union Commission, which is here, friends of the African Union, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Assalamu alaikum. Mes amis, bonsoir. Hamjambo. I am very delighted to see such a big audience here in Addis this evening. And I'm so happy to have been introduced by two very prominent African ladies here. It shows the women power of Africa. Allow me to begin by thanking all of you for making time out of your very busy schedules to come and listen to me and my vision for this great institution, the African Union Commission. I do not take your presence here for granted. I know that you have other things that you have prepared to do today, but you chose to come and be with us. I know some of you may know me as a politician, but allow me to introduce myself to you today. My name, as has been said, is Raila Amolo Odinga. I'm an African by way of Kenya, although my ancestors came from a place called Bar El Ghazal in southern Sudan. I am a mechanical engineer by training, a businessman, a former prime minister, a grandfather of 5, a father of 4, a husband of 1, that I know of, and a lifelong servant of Africa, but you may call me also Baba. Many of you have heard of me because of politics, which, as you know, can be a challenge. Steadfast and uncompromising in my belief about our African unity. I was born into the spirit of Pan-Africanism as the son of a pioneering leader, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, and under his tutelage and guidance, I was exposed to the rich tapestry of Africa of exceptional leaders. I have witnessed both the continent's greatest aspirations and its most challenging trials. I have experienced the vision and dedication of the founding fathers like Nnamdi Azikiwe, Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, Ahmed Sekou Touré, Gamal Abdel Nasser, Ahmed Ben Bella, and recently, Nelson Mandela. I have also lived through the collapse of that grand vision, and I have a occasion to watch as the world rapidly transformed, while back at home, we are developing at a slower rate. Thankfully, the vision of the modern AU as we know it was brought back to life by Presidents Thabo Mbeki, Olusegun Obasanjo, Abdoulaye Wade, and Abdulaziz Bouteflika, we thank them for their contributions. Indeed, Africa has given all of us the tools to succeed, which is why I'm determined to give back to Africa. And we're meeting here today in Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa is not the head seat of OAU or of AU by accident. This is the cradle of mankind. By contemporary knowledge of science, the oldest species of humanoids living around this region here, from Ethiopia down to Kenya. So here you are back home. And they say that Adam was the first human being who was an African. This is also the oldest country in terms of governance in the continent. It was the only country that was not colonized. So what you see here is not a relic of any kind of colonization. Apart from a brief invasion by Italians, this country has always ruled itself. When they came here, they found an institution that was much older and stronger than that they left back home where they came from. So you must be proud that Africa actually is the mother of civilization. When Africans were struggling, Ethiopia offered support for liberation of Africa. And the liberation movement moved, and eventually colonialism was defeated. So there were centers: Accra, Cairo, Addis Ababa, Dar es Salaam. Those were the origins of African Organization of African Union. 2.5 weeks ago, we were here in Addis Ababa to come at the launch of the refurbished African Hall, where the Organization of African Unity was founded in May 1963. At that time, I came under a different category. I was invited as a descendant of my father, who was one of the founding fathers of the Organization of African Union. At that time, a big part of Africa had already been liberated. They were represented by presidents. But there was part of Africa which was not free, Kenya was being one of them. Kenya, Zimbabwe, Zambia, then Rhodesia, Mozambique, Swaziland, now Eswatini, South Africa, Basuto land then, now Lesotho, Bechuana land then, now Botswana, Southwest Africa, now Namibia, Equatorial Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Sao Tome and Principe, and Cape Verde. So, in that congregation of the African leaders, presidents, the two people who spoke on behalf of the liberation movements, and that was Nelson Mandela and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. So now we were invited as the descendants of the founding fathers to witness the opening of that hall. That is why I was here last time. Now, my extensive travels across the length and breadth of Africa have exposed me to the enormous riches and unexploited opportunities in our great continent. I have also had the opportunity to serve the African Union High Representative for Infrastructure Development in Africa between 2018 and 2023, for which I remain profoundly grateful. But I have also represented the AU in other capacity. When Ivory Coast was in turmoil, the then chair of the AU, Mr. Jean Ping, approached me and asked me to be the African Union representative to mediate the crisis in Ivory Coast. I have also been involved in other peace initiatives in Burundi under Maldimu Julius Nyerere to negotiate peace in Burundi. I was also involved in Mozambique when there was a crisis, when the opposition had refused to accept the results and they needed somebody to go and bring them together. I was involved in the negotiations in Mozambique. So I understand Africa from other perspectives. But I was was asked by the current chair to be the High Representative of Africa on the field of infrastructure. And I know most of the representatives here from that perspective. This position gave me the opportunity to further appreciate Africa's myriad infrastructural and associated challenges. Here we were dealing with several infrastructure across the